It all started with this video that you just watched, which we launched back in March of this year. Fast forward 4 months later, and we now find ourselves at the end of this process, and we are here to listen today to some really innovative ideas and concepts. Hello and good morning, good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are, you're joining us from. My name is Joris van Etten from the Asian Development Bank, and I'd like to welcome everybody here to the final event of our first ever Smart Cities Datathon 2021 on building back smarter digital solutions for livable cities. This Datathon is organized by the ASEAN, Australia Smart Cities Trust Fund, supported by the Australian Government, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and managed by the Asian Development Bank. Here's a peek at our program to give you an idea of how this afternoon competition will proceed. We'll start shortly with 2 opening remarks to kick off this afternoon's program, followed by a quick refresher on why we launched this Datathon in the first place. We'll then introduce our jury members who will be judging our teams this afternoon, before proceeding to the main event, which is the final pitches of our top 4 teams. After each team's pitch, our jury members will have the chance to ask each team some questions. Once all teams have given their pitches, we'll take a short break from our program to allow our jury to deliberate on the winner of our Smart Cities Datathon 2021, which we will announce right after the jury have finalized their deliberations. So without further ado, we want to get on with the afternoon program with some opening remarks by His Excellency Mr. Will Nankervis, who is the ambassador to the Association of Southeast Asian Nations of the Australian Government, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. As Australia's ambassador to ASEAN, Mr. Nankervis is responsible for advancing Australia's interest with ASEAN and ASEAN-led processes. He was most recently Assistant Secretary, Indo-Pacific Strategy and Regional Maritime Branch, and has previously served overseas in the Australian permanent missions to the United Nations in New York and in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Mr. Nankervis, the floor is yours.
Well, thanks very much, Joris, and it's really, really great to be here. Good morning, as you said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're patching in from. But it's really great to be here to launch the Datathon. And I thought I would just talk a little bit about 3 things, keeping it short. First, the importance of ASEAN to Australia. Second, the context of our cooperation on smart cities. And third, a little bit about our cooperation with the region on COVID-19. So on the first of those topics, the importance of ASEAN. Look, ASEAN's really of profound significance for Australia. We're neighbours, and Southeast Asia and ASEAN are at the heart, the center of the Indo-Pacific region, strategically, economically, and diplomatically. ASEAN's success has really helped support regional security and prosperity for over 50 years, and Australia's really benefited from that. And it's uniquely placed to address the critical regional issues that we face looking forward. So Australia is a really strong supporter of a strong, stable, and cohesive ASEAN that really sits at the center and the heart of regional affairs. Australia became ASEAN's first dialogue partner in 1974, and we became strategic partners in 2014. And we really cooperate across a broad range of issues, including economic connectivity and trade, health security, transnational crime, human trafficking, cyber, food security, biosecurity risks. The list goes on and on, which really brings me to the second thing I wanted to touch on, which is our cooperation on smart cities. So we're working with ASEAN to develop city systems in smart and sustainable ways. Our cooperation on smart cities was announced by our Prime Minister, then Prime Minister, at the 2018 ASEAN Australia Special Summit in Sydney. And I'd like to acknowledge Singapore's role and leadership in pushing smart cities as a signature initiative from its chair year, the year in which it chaired ASEAN in 2018. So you guys don't need me to tell you that cities are important. No country since the beginning of the industrial age has achieved significant economic growth without urbanization. Cities are engines of economic development, with 70% of the world's GDP generated in urban areas. By 2050, it's expected that 2/3 of the world's population will live in urban areas, and urban populations in Asia are expected to triple. Today, about half of the population of ASEAN lives in urban areas, and by just 2025, 70 million more people are expected to become urban dwellers. We need smarter cities that promote innovation, improve well-being, and enhance connectivity. Since 2018, Australia has contributed just under $3 million to the development and implementation of the ASEAN Sustainable Urbanisation Strategy, which is an initiative under ASEAN's Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity 2025. It provides the framework and toolkit for local governments in ASEAN to advance sustainable urbanisation in their cities. Australia also awarded 10 scholarships, one from each ASEAN member state, in urbanisation-related fields. And our $20 million investment in the ASEAN Australia Smart Cities Trust Fund is supporting ASEAN member states to build livable cities that are sustainable, competitive, inclusive, and resilient. The Trust Fund is leading to practical improvements. For example, in Baguio in the Philippines, we're working with the city government on a flood forecasting and early warning system to mitigate impacts and protect residents, especially the vulnerable. In Kaison in Laos, a smart learning platform is being designed to prepare students for the demands of the job market, providing necessary skills while also helping businesses to increase efficiency. In Makassar in Indonesia, we're supporting a livable city prioritization platform, which will support Makassar's vision to become a world-class city. And I know in Penang, we're also working, we have work underway on traffic flows and congestion. So as COVID-19 impacted Southeast Asia, the region prioritized digital solutions in the response and recovery. The Smart Cities Trust Fund pivoted to respond to the pandemic and shared information on using visualization and data tools to help manage and track the spread of COVID-19, as well as leveraging data for urban design and planning for post-COVID cities. This really brings me to the third thing I wanted to touch on briefly, which was Australia's response and cooperation with ASEAN in response to the pandemic. So Australia really stands with our ASEAN partners as we work to respond to new variants of COVID-19. And of course, tragically, many of the countries in our region are experiencing significant surges in COVID-19 cases, including Indonesia, where I'm sitting at the moment. Australia has committed over $600 million to assist countries in Southeast Asia and the Pacific to access COVID-19 vaccines, of which $300 million is committed for Southeast Asia. We've also committed to the COVAX facilities advanced market commitment. That's a contribution of $130 million, which is helping to procure and distribute vaccine doses to low and middle income countries. But our support isn't just for the procurement of vaccine doses. We provide end-to-end support, including technical advice, training of health workers, and support on cold chain storage. Vaccination programs are crucial, but in the longer term, we need to create sustainable and livable cities that are resilient to pandemics. And that's why Australia is supporting this datathon. This datathon is really timely, and its challenge on how digital solutions can be used to build back smarter and make cities more livable is really extremely relevant. We need new ideas and new ways of doing things. Cities across the region are responding to the COVID-19 pandemic and are trying to develop innovative ways to protect community health, protect the most vulnerable, and support economic growth. And I'm sure that some of the ideas that we'll hear from you guys today will really help. I want to congratulate all the finalists for doing so well and for getting this far. Good luck. I really look forward to hearing your pitches and all the best. Good luck to the judges in making what I think will be a very, very difficult decision. So good luck, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say to us this morning, afternoon, and evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nankervis, for your short remarks. We'll see you back later, as you will be helping us to award indeed the final prize to the winning pitch. And thank you for your reflection on ASEAN smart cities and the link with COVID-19. At this point, I would like to introduce our final opening speaker for today, Ms. Shirin Hamid, who is the Director General for Information Technology of the Information Technology Department of the Asian Development Bank. Ms. Hamid has more than 20 years of working experience in the IT industry and was most recently the Chief Technology Officer and Director of the Office of Information Systems and Technology at UNDP, where she provided strategic direction and innovative stewardship in the use of information management and technology, and served as a principal advisor to senior management areas of ICT strategies, governance, and global operations. Ms. Hamid, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Joris, and thank you everyone for participating in this challenge. I am Shirin Hamid, the Director General of the Information Technology Department for the Asian Development Bank, and congratulations to all the teams who were selected to pitch today. That in itself is an accomplishment. We're extremely happy to have had 63 solutions submitted from 296 participants and 149 teams for the Smart Cities Datathon 2021. And out of the 63 submitted solutions, the top 4 solutions were selected through a very, very competitive filtering process. The top 4 team represents a diverse set of creative and innovative minds coming from different countries and different professional background. And I want to congratulate the team. Aeloi Technologies, I hope I pronounced that right, from Nepal, Team Alaga Health from the Philippines, Team Annapurna from India, and Team Inter-GenZ from Canada for making it to the final stage of this challenge. You are already a winner by being here today. I want to thank you for your time, your commitment, for developing your solutions to support ADB and the partners to build back smarter, to create more people-centric, technology-enabled urban transformation in Southeast Asia. Now, we launched the ADB Challenges platform for crowdsourcing open innovation in 2018. And since then, we have successfully hosted more than 30 challenges, especially during COVID-19, engaging more than 5,000 participants and sourced over 1,500 innovative digital solutions across various sectors and thematic areas. And since 2020, last year, we've seen the importance of remote technologies growing exponentially, both in the ADB and across the development sector, to keep people safe and to keep the economies moving forward. Engaging with our innovation ecosystem through open innovation challenges helps to bring together unique and non-traditional partners to push the technological frontier and find new, exciting, and authentic solutions that replace the old practices and that have become less relevant. The Smart Cities agenda shows huge potential for open innovation as cities offer real-life launchpads to jumpstart innovation across sectors. As we work to implement ADB's vision for livable cities and for Asia and the Pacific, increasingly we must seek to work with problem solvers, entrepreneurs, and innovators just like you, right, to harness the region's ideas, knowledge, and opportunities. And I'm proud to say that this Datathon is an excellent opportunity for us to build back smarter. It also contributes to our collective effort to achieve more inclusive and prosperous urban futures in our developing member countries. Now, I must say, not only do we have a diverse set of winning teams, but we also have a diverse group of jury members. I would like to personally thank ADB's Urban Sector Group, Sung Hoon Chris Moon, our own ITD Director, Ozir Harnd, Chun Wei Wu, Head of Solutions in the ASEAN Public Sector Amazon Web Services, and Jankar Kekova, Business Partnerships and Carbon Market team from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Australia. Again, congratulations to the selected team and all of the participants. Thank you for your cutting-edge ideas and solutions, and we look forward to working with you and our ASEAN Australia Smart Cities Trust Fund colleagues and partners towards implementing a successful pilot in the coming months. Thank you again, and over to you, Joris.
Thank you so much, Shirin. Much appreciated. I remember for both of us, actually, our first one of our first missions for ADB when we would still travel was actually a mission together with many of our colleagues to Singapore, where we tried to learn as ADB how we could support smart cities development in the region. And I still find it one of my more interesting journeys, as we all went together and all looked at Singapore and see to what extent we could use that information and inspiration to work with our other cities in Asia and the Pacific. So thanks for those opening remarks. And let me continue with the program for the remainder of the afternoon, which, as I said earlier, already caps off a 4-month-long process of identifying digital solutions that have the potential to help cities to build back smarter from the challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. We want to take you on a quick look back at why we embarked on this datathon, which started with a simple problem statement. To build back smarter, how can digital solutions be used to make cities more livable? And so through this datathon, we hope to find innovative digital solutions that focused on any of the 3 areas we have identified, namely improving financial services, participation or influence in decision-making, and access to urban services and amenities. At the end of our application period, we've received a total of 63 quality entries. We then had the unenviable task of shortlisting the top 10 solutions, which moved on to a mentoring phase of our challenge, where they received further guidance from our mentors on improving their submissions. At the end of this mentoring phase, we had to again shortlist the most promising of the bunch. And this is how we identified our top 4 teams that are competing this afternoon. To be selected from the original 63 entries we received is in itself an achievement. So I say well done to our final 4 teams. Last, before we introduce this afternoon's judging panel, we'd like to take this moment to acknowledging our diverse mentor panel, without whom this datathon would not have been possible. We extend our sincere gratitude to them for giving us and the teams their time, expertise, and support throughout this datathon. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce the judging panel for this afternoon's final event. First, there is Ms. Janka Gekova from the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, where she manages DFAT investments, which support and catalyze innovation, entrepreneurship, and gender lens investing in Asia and the Pacific, with a goal to create development, impact, and social change. She has 15 years of experience in the entrepreneurship development, SME finance, and financial inclusion in Eastern Europe, Asia, and the Pacific. Welcome, Janka.
Thank you, Joris. It's great to be here with you today, and congratulations to all 4 teams for making it to the finals. Thank you.
Thank you, Janka. Next is Ozir Khan, who leads ADB's Digital Innovation Sandbox program and has a broad area of expertise in digital transformation, innovation, and emerging technologies adoption by public sector and international agencies. Prior to joining the ADB, he was the Chief of Innovation and Business Relationships at the United Nations headquarters in New York, where he was responsible for developing relationships with departments, member countries, facilitating public-private sector partnerships, and leading innovation labs development globally. Welcome, Ozir.
Thank you. Good to be here and looking forward to all the pitches today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we have Ms. Sunghoon Chris Moon, who is an urban development specialist from ADB. As part of ADB's urban sector group, Chris works to develop innovative urban development solutions that make cities more livable for all city dwellers. Prior to joining ADB, Chris led the strategic planning and partnership team at the Seoul Urban Solutions Agency, working with international organizations including ADB, World Bank, and EBRD. and held numerous capacity building, knowledge production sharing, and advisory projects, either directly with cities or via partnerships with international organizations. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Joris, and it's an honor to be here. Looking forward to the presentations. Thank you.
And last but not least, we have Mr. Chung-Wei Wu, who is the Head of Solutions Architecture ASEAN Public Sector at Amazon Web Services. Chung-Wei and his team of solution and program architects work with public sector customers and partners to innovate and improve public service delivery through adaptation of the cloud. Chung-Wei is an IT professional with over 22 years of experience providing technology consulting, architecture, and large-scale digital transformation across many government functions and ministries. Welcome, Chung-Wei.
Thank you, Joris. Just like to wish all the teams best of luck for the afternoon.
Thank you very much, all judges. Now that we have met the judges, here's a quick overview of the criteria that they will be using to assess our top 4 teams today. 30% of the points will go to business value, 30% for operational feasibility and scalability, 20% for user experience, and 20% of technical competence. And now on to the main event, which is the final pitches of our top 4 teams, as shown on your screen in the order that they will be presenting, starting with Team Inter-GenZ, followed by Team Annapurna, Team Aeloi Technologies, and finally Team Alaga Health. This order was agreed on with the teams themselves a few days ago. Each team will be given 8 minutes for their respective pitches, which will be followed by a 7-minute Q&A from our judges before moving on to the next team pitch and so on. We'll keep strictly to the time so that we would like to remind our teams to please keep your presentation to the 8-minute time. So over to the first team. Because now with the pitching order now clarified, we will now proceed with the final pitch from the first of our 4 finalists, Team Inter-GenZ. We will talk about SharedTech, which is a resource sharing platform for the sharing of rarely used but functional appliances with community members. Making the pitch for the Team Inter-GenZ is Rosa Chu. My stopwatch is now set at 8 minutes for the team's pitch, so I would like to invite Team Inter-GenZ to share their screen now. As soon as your screen is started, you can begin. Team Inter-GenZ, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ADV delegates and fellow global teams. I'm Rosa, and these are my teammates, Miriam, Dershawn, and Yoshi. Our solution to increasing access to urban resources is SharedTech. We recognize that we must leverage smart cities infrastructure to reduce inequalities and promote sustainable use of electronic appliances in Southeast Asia. How can we do this? Well, SharedTech addresses multiple layers of the e-waste problem. We extend the lifespan of electronic products, reduce inequalities by providing users with access to appliances, while also helping users earn money for day-to-day use. Above all, it introduces a new culture of sharing. So before we jump into our service, let's share a little story. Meet Achara, a first-year student enrolled in a local university. She starts class tomorrow and is in desperate need of a kettle and iron. She needs to look the part for her first day. Her neighbor suggests SharedTech. She finds the app, installs it, and voila. As a young person, she's well aware that according to the UN, there's 50 million tons of e-waste per year, a figure that is expected to double by 2050. So let me introduce our service. SharedTech lets you share your devices, make money, and reduce e-waste. Users can post appliances for others to use, rent appliances others have posted, as well as requests for appliances that are not available in the catalog. So Achara may have heard of Facebook Marketplace, Instagram Market, Carousel, or other renting services. However, many of these services provide secondhand products which are not always verified in terms of quality and often require individuals to set time aside to pick up products from new settings that may not offer psychological safety or be time consuming. So what makes SharedTech unique? First, we harness the power of youth. Youth and young adults are active participants in civil society that influence social and economic systems. This app would harness their voices around environmental sustainability and drive forward a culture of sharing. Secondly, our app users will be much more intentional, mindful, and informed when it comes to their product choices and consumptions. It's an opportunity for responsible consumption of electronic products by connecting like-minded folks. Points and incentives. Behavior change requires incentives, and similar to social media networks, our platform integrates climate points similar to likes and shares. These points would rank folks on a global scorecard, contributing to a culture of competitive goodness or sharing. ShareTech will communicate the impacts of e-waste more effectively. It celebrates the positive impact of sharing on the environment and does all this through climate points. Now let's talk about market size. Our primary audience is college and university students like AASCTF. They are likely to easily adopt the app, champion its use from an environmentalist and minimalistic approach, and contribute to a culture of sharing and environmental stewardship. The space these youth engage in have the ideal infrastructure to host the services of the app, for example, having internet access. Scaling up, the service will expand to others in the local community to give local and regional communities a chance to participate in the sharing economy, thus increasing access to urban resources among vulnerable groups. This pie chart represents all items relevant to design, implementation, and maintenance of the app, like staffing, data, website hosting, insurance, etc. Our pilot intervention will have 3 revenue streams. Freemium subscription users engage with ads where ShareTech generates revenue based on cost per impressions. Users on paid subscriptions pay monthly fees to experience the app ad-free. We will also generate commission or administrative fees per transaction. After the initial pilot, our services will expand to the general public while offering users a chance to test new products offered by our partners and manufacturers. And additionally, paid subscription users will have functionalities like chat and other new features in a beta version. So let's take a look at the ShareTech app. The easy-to-use interface with the addition of point-based rewards will be the key driving points for app uptake among AASCTF and colleagues. So the user interface allows students and administrators easy access. During the pilot program, students are required to use their student ID for sign-up and verification process. Upon login, students will be able to securely put in their credit card information to be used as credit to rent appliances. A one-time deposit fee will be charged when students rent their first product. The deposit fee is refunded if students decide to no longer use the service and have returned all rented products. Both the credentials and deposit will also ensure for management and prevention of theft of products. So once signed up, users will have 2 options. Renting appliances. So users can rent a variety of small appliances within different categories, including cooking, cleaning, self-care, studying, entertainment, and more. These can include anything from hair dryers, fans, toasters, irons, to vacuums. When selecting products, users can choose their desired checkout duration and check if they have sufficient credit to pay. Once confirmed, they'll get a receipt. Rental prices will vary based on product age, its demand, and market threshold. Pickup options will be available at a campus storage under the pilot project alone. Rental fees are per day per product, and additional charges will apply per day when late. Damage or loss of products will result in deposit fee retention. And the next option for users is posting appliances. Users can post any small appliances for rent, and the user will need to specify the product that they're posting, and our app will suggest a rental fee appropriately. The user then brings the product to ShareTech's storage facility where our staff will verify appliance functionality and safety. The appliance is stored at the school where other users can pick it up after checking out the item on the app. So remember those climate points we talked about? Well, similar to the likes on Facebook, these points will reward app users who participate in generous sharing activities. Imagine comparing whose plant has grown faster and well. Just like scores on Angry Birds and Farmville represent gameplay, our plants represent how much people care about e-waste and pollution, thus changing the way users purchase and share electronic goods. The points, as well as interesting facts on the global e-waste, will encourage users to return and serve as a reminder that they are making an impact. Share Tech is our digital solution to increasing access to urban resources for vulnerable groups. We believe our app is future-proof and builds resilient societies. Our app will contribute to building back smarter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosa, for this short introduction. Over to the judges for questions. Please go ahead. Questions, comments. Who can I give the floor? Maybe Janka?
Yes, thank you. I just unmuted myself. Thank you very much, Rosa, for this pitch. I just had a question. You mentioned scaling strategy. Can you talk a little bit more about it? Are you looking at other customer segments than students? And if so, what would be your strategy? What will be your main sort of differentiating points or features to acquire those customer segments? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. So for the scaling up, we're looking at expanding it to community members that are close to the campus first, so that it's all part of the local community. And because we see schools as safe spaces for a lot of people, we're really considering that psychological safety aspect of it, being able to go to a place where you feel safe to pick up a product and also safe to return a product without having to feel like I'm going to a stranger's home. So that's where we're looking first as part of the scaling option, is extending it to community members within the vicinity of campuses.
Okay, thank you very much. Ozir, any question, feedback?
Yeah, maybe just to follow up, can you talk a little bit more on the store itself and the cost? Because I'm just trying to think through the model. The person will bring to the store, do they leave it there and somebody else will pick it up, and you would have full-time staff manning those stores in the equation?
Yes, that would be the intention. So our hope would be to negotiate having a storage space at the school, so that once the product has been verified by staff that it's safe for use, then it would be stored at the school, and that's where users will come to pick up the items and return them when they're done renting.
Thank you.
Okay. Chris, any feedback, comments?
Yes, one
Questions?
question regarding the business value of the platform, your platform. Now, I'm not so sure whether you had opportunity to kind of compare the cost between buying the second-handed products as opposed to renting them, because if the renting goes for a prolonged period of time, from the consumer point of view, it might be they might be better off buying a second-handed goods rather than renting. So, so that's my question. Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear it. Can you repeat it?
Sure. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry for taking everyone's time. Now, it was regarding the cost value for the consumers. Now, is it in terms of your cost structure, did you have an opportunity to compare between actually purchasing the second-handed products as opposed to renting? Because renting for a prolonged period of time may, at the end of the day, be more costly for the consumers than to buy second-handed products. And I'm sure there are a myriad of second-handed products, either apps that cater to that need.
Yeah, so we did take a look at it because there are quite a few competitors out there who do secondhand market. The thought process that we had is that there are certain items that aren't used on a daily basis, and so some users might not want to acquire that product and have it sit in their own home, and it becomes sort of the same issue of a not often used item just sitting in their home and there's no use out of it. So our intention is to sort of extend that lifespan of the product so that we get more uses out of a product as opposed to having that item just sit somewhere in someone's home.
Thank you very much for that. Then Chung Wei, any question?
Yeah, maybe just one. So I guess, as you've alluded, there are a number of other competitive platforms out there, right? Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I guess getting the initial, group of users and kind of, scaling from there, that's a critical one. I'm just keen to get your thoughts around how you plan to, get that initial group. What's that targets? I mean, I know it's kind of you, but like maybe in specific countries, or which is the specific area that you want to target first to kind of start the flywheel effect, right?
We don't have a specific country that we're targeting specifically. It'll depend on who we can engage. I think for us, because we're based in Canada, it's probably easier for us to try locally to engage with our local schools and campuses to try something like this. So our approach would be to talk to students as well as talk to schools about what it is that their needs are, and make sure that we build our app based on the actual needs of the target users that we have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Team Inter-GenZ, and thank you very much, judges, for this first pitch. Now we move on to our second team pitching this afternoon, which is Team Annapurna, which is represented by Ms. Arushi Gupta. Team Annapurna will talk about their solution, which provides financial autonomy to urban Indian homemakers by presenting them with the opportunity to create a secondary stream of income. I've reset my stopwatch at 8 minutes for the team's pitch. So I'd like now to invite Team Annapurna to share their screen. And as soon as your screen is shared, you can begin. Team Annapurna, the floor is yours.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Is this visible right now? Is my screen visible?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. So Arushi and I are pre-final year undergraduate students at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and we are creating a tool in order to facilitate access to financial freedom and financial access to urban Indian women. So through this app, what we are trying to do is to bridge the gap between urban homemakers and working adults. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen that there has been a significant increase in enterprising behavior amongst urban women. And we've also noticed that only 10.3% of urban Indian women are part of the workforce. And there is a dire need for tools and logistics in order to provide them with more support in order to grow in the country. Also, as young working adults, we've noticed that whenever we have gone for internships or small projects to different cities, especially in the urban cities like Mumbai, Pune, and Bangalore, we've noticed that it is not sustainable for us to be investing on restaurant food or takeaways every single day, because for both health concerns as well as the cost. So we've realized that there are both demands and a supply of both these systems existing, and we're trying to bridge this through our initiative. So I believe that it's getting Oh yeah. So what Annapurna does is that it's an app which bridges the gap between the homemakers and the working adults. We rely on a robust UI UX design in order to help people from varying educational backgrounds in order to facilitate deliveries and transactions. So the urban Indian women of our country would sell home-cooked meals to young working adults in metropolitan cities in the country. Our value proposition consists of multiple factors, but the main thing that we want to do primarily with respect to the Indian context is that we want to use the existing Aadhaar framework to increase transparency and in order to facilitate quick transactions. So with the help of Aadhaar, multiple documents are connected using the UID, and it is connected to your bank accounts as well as your mobile numbers. So this increases transparency and also creates a robust system which we can make use of. So our key feature is that we bridge the gaps between the buyer and the seller, and we use the Aadhaar link up and the online decentralized marketplace in order to facilitate these transactions. And we give the sellers absolute access to their finances, because in India, we've noticed that a majority of the women do not have absolute access to their finances, even though they are generating income. Moving on to the interface, we would like to show a small demo of our interface. So it consists of two major systems. One is that of the buyer and the other is of the seller. And it is a robust UI UX interface that we've created. We're using graph neural networks in order to rank the sellers based on their popularity. And finally, we are using two separate UI UX systems for the buyers and the sellers. We have used local languages so that there are no entry barriers. And we've also included a messaging system with which the buyer, the seller, and the delivery partners can facilitate conversations, and they can have discussions once the deal has been carried out. And finally, we want to create a very simple UI UX system so that anybody from any strata of the society can enter into the system and make proper deliveries through the process. Next, I'll hand it over to Arashi to discuss about our go-to-market strategy and our market analysis.
So Unni explained the algorithm pretty well. I want to discuss the market a little bit. So we've tried to analyze the external factors as much as we can. There are a lot of factors here which I've presented. The ones I think are the most important, firstly, are going to be the bargaining power of buyers. By buyers here, I mean, are essentially going to be the people who we offer our services to, which is firstly going to be the young working adults, as well as the aunties or the merchants we're talking about. India is generally a price-sensitive region. The customer here is generally more price elastic. So we want to offer a product of supreme quality at a lower margin cost. Of course, we understand that for this, we would have to create external revenue streams as well to ensure that our product is profitable in the long run. But we do want to focus on quality over quantity and a larger market penetration, seeing the size of the Indian population and the amount of people that need this. Secondly, the second thing we want to focus on is the threat of substitute products, which would be high because of the fact that a lot of substitutes in the form of Indian competitors such as Zomato or Swiggy exist. So, and also the substitute of maybe a working adult cooking food on their own. And these are things we want to combat here. Other entrants do exist, other factors do exist, such as threat of new entrants. Should this pilot be successful, there would be more entries, as well as bargaining power of suppliers. By suppliers here, I mean the people who will be going for a link up, such as existing delivery local chains, as well as payment gateways. However, multiple of these exist in the market, so we don't think that they would have a large power to bargain with us. We would be the advantage here, as well as existing markets which do not exist since we're new in this chain altogether. Talking about a go-to-market analysis as a whole. Like I mentioned, we do want to integrate from a hyperlocal stance. And one thing I think I want to emphasize is that there is a lot of these hyperlocal delivery systems that are present right now, such as VFast, Dunzo. I'm not sure if you can see the screen very clearly, but there's VFast, Dunzo, etc. that we want to integrate into, and these are all offered in different cities in India. Secondly, we want to also focus on the fact that marketing strategies, things such as the competitors and the big brands that use in India, we don't want to focus on. We believe that go-to-market strategy, word-of-mouth strategy is very big in India, especially considering in the Indian middle-class women. Something we have personally noticed, if the product is similar in a small group of women, it does generally spread quickly. Next, we want to talk about a pilot. We want to test the pilot out in Mumbai, Maharashtra. There are a couple of reasons as to why we want to do this. Firstly, Mumbai, Maharashtra has something unique in the form of the Dabbawala system. To give you a little bit of context, the Dabbawala system is essentially a lunchbox delivery system that exists in Mumbai that has been going on offline for around over 50 to 60 years now. There are for over 50 to 60 years now. It is essentially a system that has been working in place and it works completely offline. We do want to integrate it into our system in Mumbai. Firstly, this offers a localized solution to every city and it creates a local flair that people would be attracted to and something they might be familiar with. Secondly, another reason we want to go with Mumbai is it is the city with the largest amount of immigrants from other states in India. And we feel that it provides a very rich opportunity to tap into this very large segment as a whole. Talking about revenue, like I mentioned previously, we do want to look into other revenue streams, seeing as the fact that maybe our margins that we offer to the aunties or our merchants might not be very high, seeing as we want to create a system that is quality over quality first. We think ad revenue is something we should look into, especially with synergic products, maybe things like packing boxes or things that can be advertised to both the customer as well as the auntie. And secondly, we also want to offer the aunties chance to promote their pages and reach to top visibility, something similar to what the Facebook or Instagram might offer with their products as a whole. And we feel that this could also be a very good way to earn an extra source of income. Lastly, for future growth, I want to talk about expansion to different locations. Once the product is successful, we do want to integrate into other cities. However, we also want to do extensive market research and find out what works for each city and create a different product and a different value chain that works for it, which ensures that we stay out as a product which offers value first. And secondly, we do want to look at taking over the value chain, since we believe that that would allow us more independence and we would be able to take over the system easily and we would have a better hierarchy as a whole. Lastly, you can look at our sources as well. We have added them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that, team Annapurna. Of course, the hope is that this is so relevant that it also would move to the Southeast Asia region, where linking possible sellers of food with young communities. I now ask again the judges, and let me now start at the bottom with Chung Wei. If you have a comment or a question, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I saw the slide when you talked about the integration with the existing value chain, like Grab as an example. So for example, in Southeast Asia, Grab, besides transport, covers food as well, right? Between small, small hawkers to restaurants and all the like. So just keen to understand your perspective of how Annapurna will integrate with something like Grab food, right? Where it's kind of almost competitive in that sense, right? Linking up the people who's providing the food and the people who needs to consume it.
Yes, so I believe I can take that question. Thank you, sir. So what we are providing through Annapurna is a unified platform. So we are creating a system of healthy competition, as well as a platform where these people can use existing value chains. So through this, there are two folds. First thing is that since we're using systems like Aadhaar, we are creating that financial transparency of transactions. And secondly, we are creating a unique place where there is more opportunities of sales. Secondly, since these are made by urban women in their home cooked kitchens, it would be significantly different with respect to quality when compared to something that is being sold by street hawkers or street vendors. We are not exactly looking at the food delivery business alone. We are looking at a system where we are able to provide urban Indian women with an access to provide things or provide services to young working adults like myself and Arushi, so that we can get home cooked meals. So the key point is home cooked meals and the access to financial independence for these urban Indian women. I hope that answers your question, sir.
Yes, and just to add on a little bit to what Unni is saying as well, when we did our professional internships in different cities as well, it was a case where there was one auntie in the entire building who was cooking a meal for everyone in the building, and she was feeding them tiffins at a very low cost price. And we want to take that model to a very larger scale and show that, my mom cooks food for 4 people. It wouldn't cost that much for her to make food for an extra 5th person and then put that up online for a secondary source of income. And this is what we wish to do. Like our mothers and people we know, they need to have this access and they need to have this opportunity to have the secondary income.
Thank you very much for that. Let's now go to Chris. Chris, any questions for this team, Annapurna?
Actually, thank you for the presentation. I think it is a very well thought out. I don't have any additional questions. You can move on to another judge. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Ozier Khan.
Just a question on the home cooked meal side of things. Are you expecting this to be more like an auction where whatever is being cooked gets placed and then people bid to then order it, or is it like menu-based system like Cloud Kitchen, a bit more organized?
Arish, do you want to take up on that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So essentially, we do want to focus on a menu-based system, since we realize that each auntie or each seller would have something that they specialize in, or a special dish. Indian cuisine is very diverse. They would have different specializations for everything, and we want to focus on that fact. People would order their menu items specifically, and it will be delivered to them. They would have to order considerably earlier, though.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And then last, Yanka, any questions?
Yes, thank you very much for the pitch. I had a question focused on the aunties or urban women who would be making the food. It's sort of going to their socioeconomic educational background. Do you have any data and information about that? Could there be any issue with regard to their bargaining power, ability to set price of their food so that they actually make a fair, decent profit on it? And also, do you have any information on their access to and ability to use mobile device to be able to effectively participate in this platform? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'd like to answer that question. So we did conduct a little bit of initial research from our own end, and our research was primarily based on two facts: on both database as well as on things that we have seen ourselves in our local vicinity. So for the part where we can provide on how the aunties can get educated about what is the right price that they can put, this is where we'd like to team up with systems like ADB, so that we can create these boot camps for these aunties. So we can create, during the pilot project, we want to create systems where we can educate them about what would be the right price and help them create their own strategy. So we'd like to educate these people so that they can get a sense of the right business practices that they can follow, everything from how to price their models to the kind of the hygiene and the safety standards that they must follow. Secondly, on how on the axis of on the penetration of how technology has entered in urban Indian women, we can. I mean, I have not quoted any data here right now, but from my basic, and I guess Arushi can pitch in on that as well. We can see that almost every auntie that I personally know, and I've been through different multiple strata in the society, I've seen that in a family there will at least be one smartphone. And this may not be the high-end smartphones that we're familiar with, but anything that is ranging from somewhere around 3,000 to 8,000 Indian rupees, we can see that there is a direct link of every family having one of these. So that way we can connect it. And the thing that we want to push is that the Aadhaar link up that is happening in the country is very rampant. There is a lot of penetration of the Aadhaar system in India. So we already have the major logistics that we're looking at in order to facilitate these transactions. It is already existing in the marketplace. So even if the auntie is using, say, her son's or her husband's smartphone, as long as she's using her SIM card and her Aadhaar number for the transactions, the money will be entered directly to her account. So that will give her absolute control over her financials. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much for those.
Puneet, you want to answer something about quality
Yeah, I
control?
understand, but in all fairness, I understand that you would like to add, but in all fairness, to the other teams also, I would like to give everybody the same time. I also see that there's questions raised in the chat box, so further clarifications can be given also in the chat box. But let us wrap it up then now for Team Annapurna. Well done. Thanks so much for that presentation. Now we move on to our third team pitching this afternoon, which is Team Aeloi Technologies, which is represented by Tiffany Tong. Team Aeloi will talk about their solution, a loan insight software that traces business loans invested into micro entrepreneurs and value chains and help to de-risk using digital tokens, de-risk loans using digital tokens. So I have reset my stopwatch again at 8 minutes for the team's pitch. So I'd like now to invite Tiffany and Team Aeloi to share their screen now. As soon as your screen is shared, you can begin. So good luck, the floor is yours.
Hello, it's an honor to be here today. I'm Tiffany, co-founder of Aeloi Technologies. In 2018, while doing research to build our company, my co-founder Sonika and I met Suchita. She told us, I need to upgrade my vehicle battery to the new lithium-ion kind, but the banks and microfinances aren't willing to give me the needed amount. How do I get them to trust me? Even though Suchita has been successfully earning a living driving an electric minibus called Safa Temple in Kathmandu for 15 years, as an informal sector urban micro-entrepreneur, she had no income record proof or credit history. Research indicates this is a common problem for 245 million micro, small, and medium enterprises globally. Micro-entrepreneurs, especially women, often cannot access affordable financing because they lack income proof, credit history, or legally owned assets for collateral. This leads to an estimated $8 trillion credit gap. They can't grow their businesses because few trust their business abilities. Aeloi's mission is to help grow this trust using technology. Our solution is a loan insight software for financial institutions. We help issue micro business loans in digital tokens, which can only be spent at accredited vendors. So an electric vehicle loan can only buy from electric vehicle vendors. Our system works like an automatic audit. It helps build digital financial footprints, de-risk the loan, and decrease interest rates in the long term. We focus on making our product design inclusive to most literacy and technology levels. Our system starts with our client financial institution using our software to lend out digital loans with their own capital. With a digital token loan, borrowers buy goods and services from vendors such as insurance, electric vehicle batteries, or charging stations. The vendors then redeem the tokens into cash from the financial institution. For microfinance institutions, we de-risk loans through increasing financial discipline in loan spending, decreasing operations costs, and using appropriate tech. For micro-entrepreneurs, we enable access to affordable input financing. It is also easier to grow digital footprints and trust with MFIs. For vendors, we bring more customers with credit who are able to pay immediately. Our system can be used from any phone. Using digital tokens, our system provides real-time fund tracking, minimizes personal purchases, and locks in the investment. Our system is designed to be scalable with simple syntax and easy-to-use user interface. We are a B2B software, so we do not decide know your customer banking requirements, underwrite loans, or transfer funds. All banking licenses needed are from MFIs. Our phones work with our platform through SMS or an offline app. There's no need for smartphones or mobile data. This makes us more inclusive and adaptable to different regions. The microfinance industry still largely relies on pen and paper. We can change that and help bridge the $8 trillion global MSME credit gap. We also provide digital financial literacy training for borrowers to help decrease the over-indebtedness problem, increase financial planning and discipline, and teach about privacy and security. From a tech perspective, we have multiple layers of security and are using ethical hackers to find security loopholes. We will move into USSD and private blockchain to enhance security. We have APIs for easy integration to core banking systems. But understanding that different MFIs have different needs, we can choose the level of integration with our system. MFIs can issue loans from our SMS or USSD system when internet connectivity is low. We're also developing an offline app, which is designed for basic Android phones. It provides a better user interface than SMS, but works without internet as the data is sent by SMS. Currently, we have two products. First, Green Energy Mobility is our digital loan product targeting a very unique sector in Kathmandu. It is an electric public bus sector that has been surfacing the city for 30 years. There are 700 buses, and at the start, they were all owned by women micro-entrepreneurs. Standard Chartered Bank Nepal is providing loans for them to upgrade their EV battery technology. Second, our Regrow is our digital loan product specific to agriculture value chains. We have 3 microfinance partners and scaling programs in different districts in Nepal. We have a software as a service business model with 3 revenue streams. 1 from vendor commissions, like credit cards, we're bringing customers with paying ability. 2, a software subscription fee from financial institutions. And 3, in the future, we will use our ecosystem to become an investment platform. We help investors interested in incentivizing specific sectors, such as women entrepreneurship or renewable energy, channel financing directly to targeted micro-entrepreneurs. We then charge a percentage fee. Our potential market is substantial. There's an $8 trillion credit gap for over 200 million MSMEs globally. At the same time, the global microfinance market is projected to grow at 15% per year. There is a lot of room to bridge the gap by digitizing to gain economies of scale. We are a B2B platform, so our user acquisition strategy is to partner with financial institutions and reach their borrowers. Currently, we have 4 financial institutions partners in Nepal, 2 savings and credit cooperatives, a microfinance bank, and an international bank. In the next 2 years, we aim to expand to 2 countries, targeting 10,000 users, making sure our platform can be easily adapted by MFIs, as simple as plug and play. In 5 years, we will become an investment platform driven by big data with an accredited network of vendors, micro-entrepreneurs, financial institutions, and impact investors in 4 emerging markets. Our product is focused on increasing value chain input financing for MSMEs, while digital wallets and mobile money are transactions focused. Our defensibility is in our trusted network, where investments are locked in for critical assets. Our system cements linkages between financing and inputs, so we are more vertically integrated compared to e-voucher systems. I am our CEO, and Sonika is our CTO. We met at Singularity University in Silicon Valley. For 20 years, we have grown our skills in data and technology at the World Bank, a Microsoft Innovation Center in Africa and Asia. So far, we've grown our talented team to 13 members, launched 3 pilots, and won 8 awards. In 10 years, we aim to become a blockchain-secured big data platform, powering an ecosystem of services for micro enterprises, including insurance, subsidy transfers, and skill trainings. Together with our partners in our network, we work towards the SDGs 1, 5, 8, and 13. Aeloi believes in building a people-centered economy that is powered from the bottom up. To reach this goal, our vision is to use technology to unlock private capital so that each dollar of investment transforms micro-entrepreneurs like Sachita and her electric minibus business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiffany, for that introduction. Much appreciated. I'd like to again go to the judges. Maybe Chris, any question from your side now?
Yes, thank you very much. Now, in terms of, it's 2 questions related. Now, one is for those without collateral, how are you going to evaluate the credit for the borrowers? That's one question. The other question, usually for microfinancing, interest rates are quite very high. And so I'm just wondering where do you see, or how do you, let's say, how do you assess the interest rates for these microfinancing and any other conditions, perhaps? Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your questions. First, so the way we don't actually assess the credit currently, ultimately when we become a platform with much more data, we'll be able to help inform data for the alternative credit scores. But right now, the credit assessment process is completely dependent on the bank. What we provide is a de-risking of the loans. So a lot of research says that maybe even up to 50% of loans may be used for personal consumption instead of business purposes. These are for business loans. So what we do is we help monitor and confine kind of the within it an accredited ecosystem so that the loans are spent according to plan. In terms of the second question, definitely microfinance interest rates, it's a huge problem that is dragging behind the sector, I would believe. And so what we are aiming to do is to help use this to de-risk the loans and also to decrease operations costs. So what we found is that personal and business loan interest rates at microfinances are often exactly the same. And the reason for that is they're completely fungible. Using our technology, we can reduce that possibility and to make sure business loans are spent on businesses and more productive and therefore help lower interest rates in the long term.
Yeah, thank you very much for that clarification. Janka, may I go to you then for a question?
Yes, thank you very much. I just had a question. So I understand that you have currently 2 products, GEM and Regrow. Can you please tell us a bit more about the traction you are gaining with these products and sort of what you are seeing as the value they bring to MFIs, vendors, and the borrowers themselves? So how are they going and doing these existing products?
Thank you for your question. So we have multiple pilots that are running. The first pilot we did, our very first one, was in 2019, and it was with 18 farmers, and the MFI had lent out their own money, about $11,000, and they spent it all at the vendors. And after a year, we followed up, and it was fully repaid. Our second pilot with the green energy mobility is now the loans are starting to be dispersed, and the first batch is with 25 loans, and it could go up to 50 to 100 loans because there's a huge demand for that. And then and other scaling pilots that we're working with Regrow are with a microfinance bank that's scaling in 2 districts. The users are just starting, so we have about 5 users there. And then we just signed 2 new MOUs with cooperatives to scale, and those targets have 300 borrower targets.
All right, thank you very much. Chunwei?
So Tiffany, maybe just one question. How does the platform kind of maybe helps mitigates, potential fraud, let's say, right, between the micro entrepreneurs with the vendors?
Absolutely. That is a problem, and fraud does exist everywhere. So what we are able to do is do real-time fund tracking. So that means if too many tokens go towards one vendor that's very small and it doesn't seem to be purchasing everything, we can actually stop the redeeming process and investigate before we proceed further. So that's the advantage with the software, is that the real-time response, and in the future, hopefully through algorithms, be able to detect that kind of activity. So that's the advantage compared to a cash system or other systems. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then last but not least, Ozir, please.
Can you talk a little bit about the tokenization piece in terms of conversion, both on the upfront and on the back-end settlement side? Are you doing any cross-border here, or is it sort of one country on both the lending and the consumption side?
Absolutely. Thank you for your question. Currently, we are not cross-border. It's within one country. And what happens is basically the vendor receives the payment in tokens after providing the goods and services, and they send an SMS, just a simple SMS over to redeem the tokens from the MFI. And from there, the vendor had already chosen if they want the money deposited in digital wallets or their account in a different bank or that MFI, and cash it. So to go physically and get the cash. So that system can be automated if the MFI is interested in integrating with our APIs. If they are not, then that is a little bit more of a manual process.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that clarification, and thank you to Aeloi Technologies for your pitch. Well done. We are now moving on to the final team Alaga Health, which is represented by Mr. Dexter Galban. Team Alaga Health will talk about their solution, a digital health marketplace and service hub, which uses blockchain-ready mobile and web applications to save the millions of people who die without getting the opportunity to seek the advice of health professionals. I'll reset my stopwatch to 8 minutes for the team's pitch. So I'd like now to ask Dexter and team Alaga Health to share their screen right now. As soon as your screen is shared, you can begin. The floor is yours.
Good day, everyone. I'm Dr. Dexter Galban, CEO and founder of Alaga Health. I believe that the foundation of every great innovation is built by healthy people. But unfortunately, 6 out of 10 Filipinos pass away without ever seeing a health professional. And 8 out of 10 Filipinos have never even had a full medical checkup. And with 111 million Filipinos as of July 2021, experiencing all of these existing health problems today, those are just too many lives lost because of lack of access to healthcare. And that's why it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you today a social enterprise that is currently onboarding over 1 million pledged users across 35 partner patient organizations across the country and around the world, and entering the $16 billion Philippine health market and $71 billion Southeast Asian health market. And built on SDGs 3, 8, and 9, my team, composed of high-ranking government officials, all business owners, CSO advisors, designers, creators of e-health records systems, we have created and assembled a strong team that has 16 years in patient NGOs, 13 years in health, 12 in business, 8 in tech, 7 in design, and 5 years in government. And we hope to help address issues on general wellness so that we can prolong the lives of people more, address issues on non-communicable diseases so that we can manage hypertension, diabetes, and other NCDs better, and of course, address issues on reproductive health care, and last but not the least, communicable diseases. And right now, this is particularly more important because in low to medium income countries, we're expecting herd immunity to only be reached by 2023. That's a long time from now. And it's interesting because the Philippines is considered the 6th-time winner of being the social media capital of the world, with 80% of interlinked Filipinos using e-commerce and e-services, beating out the rest of the world. So it makes you wonder, why is it that we still have inaccessibility for affordable quality healthcare services, maldistribution of gainfully employed health professionals, and low integration of health technologies? So imagine if you can access telehealth services so you can consult wherever you are in the country or around the world, or request for a health professional to visit your home because you've had a stroke or had a broken bone, or possibly set appointments so you no longer have to wait in line and you only have to go to the hospital or the clinic exactly when you need to. And of course, requesting your swab tests and other lab tests either at home or at the clinic, and provide health benefits to all of your employees in just a snap. And who wants free access to medicine delivery right to your doorstep, and who would like to earn discounts from answering correctly questions about their current disease. All of these amazing features are actually scattered throughout the market and are working and operating in silos. And what we hope to provide is integrate all of these things while providing the digital tools needed to enter these spheres of functionalities using web systems, mobile apps, and admin panels. And whether you're a patient, a partner, or an owner of a clinic, particularly an administrator, there is a place for you in a marketplace and a health service hub. And that's exactly who we are. We are Alaga Health, the Philippines' first digital health marketplace and health service hub that actually goes end to end. From the patient side to the health professional side, we are with you 24/7, 360-degree care. And if you're going to look at our competitors, we are actually the only ones who would be providing all of these functionalities within the same platform, a major plus for the elderly population who are having difficulties using technology. And at the same time, we are the first digital health platform with a payment system to be fully compliant with tax guidelines, doubling our platform as a financial tool for health professionals. No more issues when it comes to taxes. And we're particularly special because we put an emphasis on micro, small, and medium-sized health clinics and service providers in cities so we can decongest hospitals and expose them to all the clinics that are actually just around them. And we actually even include community health services by youth orgs, patient groups, and advocacy centers, and including government health services by national government agencies and local health departments. So how do we keep this sustainable? By charging commissions, sale of demographic metadata that only we can possibly get by having this stream of services, and advertisements and fees. And clearly we have a vision for growth, a growth point for the future across multiple years. And we're very thankful to have been granted all of these accolades by institutions like UNDP, Startup Network, and of course, ADB and the Australia Embassy and Globe Philippines, Globe Telecom. And to have been featured by international institutions like the World Health Organization, Financial Times, and The Lancet for our innovative idea. And we're very thankful to have already been partnered with international entities like Hello Doctor, present in 9 countries, the Global NCD Alliance, present in multiple countries, and the largest patient alliance of organizations in the country, as well as UNDP-supported 2030 Youth Force. And soon, we are now entering discussions on how we can go offline using SMS communications. And even our promotional methods of providing free services every Saturday to all patients and expose them on how they can use the platform in the future have been growing our viewership exponentially. Clearly, the market wants it, and hopefully we can serve more people sooner rather than later. Our partner app dropped July 3, and our patient app is dropping July 31, completing the circle. And hopefully, with the help of ADB and the Australian Embassy, we'll be able to fund our growth and development, particularly in tech and marketing, and expand to these particular cities, because we are looking to tap the untapped overseas Filipino worker market and international clients looking for that Filipino touch of care. And of course, we're very happy to report that we're now bidding to cities and national government agencies so that we can become part of their smart city endeavors. And what's good is that we are an all-in-one package. No need to talk for their clinics, their telemedicine, or their labs, because we are there, very easy to scale, very easy to spread. And all we ask is that you invest in a future wherein we can save Baby Kurt, Tate Pedro, or Father Pedro, and Lola Graduacion, and spark hope, so that we can provide healthcare anytime, anywhere, in every way. We are Alaga Health, and if you would indulge me, I hope to provide you with a very quick visual of our demo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dexter, for that introduction of Alaga Health. We now, of course, go back to our judges, and I would like to start with Ozir to see if you have a question.
Thank you. Very passionate presentation. In terms of the business model, trying to understand how you will onboard the medical professionals and how, I mean, I can see how you will get the users on board, but give me a sense of how you're looking at onboarding the medical professional, the doctor, the hospitals, and the providers. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. So first and foremost, there is no cash out for them to join Alaga Health. And what's interesting is that we are actually reaching out to medical societies and other health professional groups so that we can onboard their health service providers to cater to the already increasing and sizable user base that we have. But at the same time, we're also reaching out to community-based health service providers that are run by youth organizations, community-based endeavors, so that, for example, screening tests on HIV and the like can be helped facilitated among many others. We want this to be a community-driven approach wherein we help the small businesses scale themselves up so that we can decongest hospitals and provide services to those within their vicinity. Actually, there's a personal pull for this for me, but I hope to be able to share that with you probably some other time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much to that. Jung-Wei, can I ask you for a question?
Yeah, sure. So maybe related to the previous question. So, I mean, there's a number of, I guess, competitor products, remote health, virtual doctor, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure in their roadmaps, they also have integration with pharmacy supply chain and stuff like that, right? So, so they will be evolving their product. So how do you kind of plan to, get that a niche within the market in that sense, right?
Thank you for that question. So we have two levels of responses for this one. First is that we don't view them technically as competitors because we have created a system for their systems to be linked to ours. And at the same time, we also take into account that our system feeds into one another. For example, you're a diabetic patient and you got diagnosed in the clinic today. Through the application, you can already be pre-booked for your telemedicine service of choice, your follow-up lab consults, and then possibly a home care or home visit after, and even pre-order all of your medicines even before you leave the clinic. All of them integrated within the same platform already. But at the same time, we also hope to include, with the support of ADB and the Australian Embassy, integrate our planned blockchain technology for this one to ensure the security and accessibility and mobility of the platform. This is what will help distinguish us as well. Plus, the last one that I mentioned, the third layer, which is trying to go offline by teaming up with SMS service providers so that we can translate some of the notifications that we have regarding our services and probably the upcoming appointments to SMS messaging for those who have problem accessing the internet.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Chris, a question from your side.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for your presentation. Now, in terms of, I'm sure that you will be collecting massive data for this. And how do you plan on utilizing those data sets to increase your business, but at the same time for the public?
Okay,
that's my question.
Thank you for that. And actually, data is a very important question. That's why we are responding to it on two levels again. First, on the layer of the health professionals in the clinics, all of them will have access to insights about their activities, and they themselves can monitor what services are being catered to or being demanded by the public and where, because there are clinics that are scattered across and they're probably networks. And at the same time, we are going to be one of the first ones to have access to data that spans the entire span of a patient's needs. So whether a patient needs telemedicine, home visit, or probably a clinic visit, they would be able to track, or we would be able to track which services they use when, and what cities, for example, have the prominence of particular diseases, what services are demanded in these areas, and what types of investments are needed in these areas. And this kind of data is not available anywhere else. It's only going to be possible to know that when you have the data that cuts across all of these services at the same time. Because having the data in silo will not speak volumes, but comparing them vis-a-vis everything else would give you an insight what actually the government and even businesses need to invest in when it comes to providing services and investments in business.
Thank you very much for that. And then last but not least, Janka, question from your side.
Yes, thank you very much. I just wanted to understand, you mentioned that you have 1 million pledged users and 35 partner organizations. Those users, does it actually include patients who have received some sort of a medical help or support? And also, what is your sort of strategy for patient acquisition to join the platform, considering there are several other platforms and apps around?
Thank you for that question. And my background, I have a very strong background of working with NGOs and CSOs, both here and abroad. And I saw the pain points. That is why my first go-to groups are patient groups, those that are already addressing patient concerns and needs. And actually, we have entered multiple agreements with patient organizations to provide them with preferential discounts by helping onboard all of their members so that we could better link them to the health services that they need. So we are partnered with, for example, the Healthy Philippines Alliance that contains different organizations like Diabetes Philippines, Psoriasis Society, patients that are already sick that might need the health services that we want to offer, but at the same time might be having difficulty finding where to go. And that's why we even added that health advocacy component, wherein you can get discounts by answering questions about your disease. That advocacy and learning aspect is a segment that we do not see anywhere else. And that is something that we hope to continue build on and give exposure, particularly to our patient partner groups, not only here, but also abroad. And that's why we're very happy that companies like Hello Doctor or Hello Health Group that's present in multiple countries has selected us instead of established companies because of this particular distinction.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Dexter and Alaga Health for this pitch. We've now heard all the pitches of all the 4 teams, which means the judges must now embark on the difficult task of assessing each team based on the criteria we've earlier established. They will now retreat to the judges' deliberation room for a closed-door session. And while our judges are deliberating, we'll be taking a short break from our program, which we think is about 20 minutes or so. But it might also not take that long. So if the judges are finished early with the judging, we will come back earlier. But we'll give you a 1-minute warning before we resume our program. In the meantime, just be on standby, grab a quick drink or a snack, and to help you pass the time. And judges, good luck filling out the judging platform which you have access to, and we'll see you all back in a bit. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. We have hopefully everybody back on board here for the announcement of the winners. We are ready. We just closed the breakout room, so to make sure that everybody is now back to the main room, and I would like to ask Ozir Khan to announce to our judges, on behalf of the judges, to present the winners of our first ever Smart Cities Datathon. But before we do that, we have one last surprise for our participating teams today, which is that in addition to the winner of the Datathon, we are pleased to announce that we'll be naming a runner-up who will be receiving $10,000 in seed funding. So on top of the $20,000 for the winner, we also have $10,000 in seed funding for the runner-up. And to announce this runner-up, I would like to invite Ozir, as representative of the judges, to take the floor. Please, Ozir.
Thank you, Joris. So this was a very tough deliberation, very good entries by everyone, but at the end, somebody has to win. For us, everyone who was here is a winner. We see the solutions being relevant, but at the end of the day, we have to pick. So very happy to announce that the runner-up is Alaga Health.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, and congratulations to Alaga Health, Dexter and team, and thanks very much for the judges for this decision. Then we turn to back to Ambassador Nankervis to announce the winning team. Please, Ambassador.
Thanks, Joris. And like Ozzy, I'd like to congratulate all the finalists. Really enjoyed hearing your pitches. And congrats to Alaga Health for being the runner-up. As Ozzy has said, it seems it was a really hard decision for the judges, and I believe that after hearing all your great pitches. But I'm very pleased to announce that the winner is Aeloi Technologies for their loan insight software that traces business loans invested into micro entrepreneurs and value chains. So congratulations, but congratulations to all the teams for being finalists and for your pitches today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, and congratulations also from my side, from our side, to Aeloi and Tiffany for presenting this. So congratulations to the winner teams. To all our teams, judges and speakers, please do stay with us for 2 more minutes after the event, as we would like to take a final virtual group photo. This concludes the final event of the Smart City Datathon 2021. Our sincere thanks to everybody who joined us for this afternoon's final event, whether you were here to cheer on your colleagues and friends or to learn more about our top 4 solutions. We hope that you find some interesting takeaways for you to reflect further on. Our sincere thanks also to our speakers and judges for your time, expertise, and support to make this endeavor possible, as well as for the team behind the scene who put a lot of time and effort to putting this production together. As a final request from us, we hope that you would take 3 minutes of your time to fill out a post-event evaluation survey to help us improve on future events. You should see a QR code and a link on the screen, and please scan that, and you will be brought to a questionnaire. Once again, thank you so much. Stay safe, and we hope to see you during our future events. And goodbye. Thank you very much. And for those sticking around for the final group photo, we'll be doing that right now, right here. Thank you very much.